You wrote an article for SNY.TV after the game yesterday about Aaron Rodgers' future with the Jets, saying that the stability and continuity are going to be the QB's deciding factors on returning. So where does he stand with the organization at this point today?
Well, that's the thing, Jeane, is when he said – Aaron Rodgers is a very literal person, and it's one of the things I actually really enjoy about covering him is because he's never going to do what Brian Daboll just did on this conference call after the Giants benched Daniel Jones and dance around questions, not answer questions. You can throw him fastball, curveball, knuckleballs. He's going to go at every single one of them and be honest with everything he says. But what you ask him, he's also going to answer literally. So when Brian asked him last week, do you still want to play in 2005? And he said, I think so, yes. He was answering that question literally. He wants to play football in 2025. What he did not say is, I want to play football for the Jets no matter what. So I just dug a little bit this week. I tried to figure out what exactly was going on. And from my understanding, a lot of what he wants to do next year in 2025, specifically as it pertains to the Jets, again, it comes down to, like you said, like I wrote, it's continuity and stability specifically on the coaching and management levels of this organization, which makes a lot of sense because think about why Aaron Rodgers came to the Jets in the first place, guys, right? He came here because Nathaniel Hackett was here. He didn't want to work with Matt LaFleur anymore. Matt LaFleur gave him a brand new scheme from what he was accustomed to. He challenged him in different ways. Now, we can say like, okay, well, being challenged and running the scheme that LaFleur did also resulted in the 2 best years of his career, but that's neither here nor there. What he wanted was what he knew. He wanted what he was comfortable with. It's why also he brought the players who he brought with him to the Jets. If they go and hire a new general manager after firing Joe Douglas, that means a brand new viewpoint on this roster. If they bring in a new head coach, he's not going to keep Nathaniel Hackett and Todd Downing. He's going to bring in a brand new offensive scheme. In all likelihood, it's going to be a scheme that is predicated on motions, which is where the NFL is going. At 41 years old, that is not something that anyone I've touched base with believes that Aaron Rodgers is going to sign up for to get himself involved in. And from my understanding as well, the Jets, in that situation where they have a new head coach and a general manager, the Jets would also prefer a new coach or a new quarterback as well. Now, again, that doesn't mean that Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. I do believe he will explore other opportunities to continue playing in 2005 where he can find that familiarity. But with the Jets, it really is tied to continuity and keeping a lot of the pieces in place, which right now that seems asinine. Right now that seems crazy. And ultimately, I do think there's like a 1.5–2% chance that there aren't wholesale changes within the organization. But the one caveat is Christopher Johnson because his relationship with Aaron Rodgers is real. It's legit, and maybe there is a chance that he can convince him to come back no matter what. But right now, I'd say those odds are not likely.
All right, Joe. Well, do you want to see Aaron back in a Jets uniform next season?
I think at this point, it's hard not to lean towards no because the Jets need a new general manager. They need a new head coach. They need a new offensive coordinator. They need a new special teams coordinator. They need a whole new coaching staff and probably an actual proper VP of football operations to look at how their entire infrastructure is set up in the front office and just take a fresh approach on everything. And half measuring things is how the Jets got into this playoff drought and this mess, right? They fired Mike Tannenbaum but kept Rex Ryan. Now you're on different timelines. They didn't fire McCagnon and Bowles at the same time, so you're on different timelines. There's no scenario where you're not messing up the timelines here. You're going to have a brand new head coach, brand new offensive coordinator, brand new GM, maybe another brand new person or two in the front office, and you're still going to have the holdover quarterback from the previous regime. It's just hard to see how that works. Now, you can make a counter argument and say, frame the right way. It's appealing that you get a year to try to compete with Rodgers, then you could start fresh. That's a tough needle to thread, especially for the Jets when you've been as bad as they've been for a long time. It makes more sense, I think, overall and on paper, just to rip the Band-Aid off, start fresh completely from this regime. If Roger wants to play somewhere else, you could help facilitate that. I don't know exactly where he lines up to go next year, but you want to start everyone on the exact same timeline and not have any bleed over from a regime that got 6 years, and it just didn't work. And if Rodgers is on the team, he's going to be the center of the universe. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's the quarterback. How do you turn the page leadership-wise if Rodgers is still on the team? You can't count on your young players or other people to step into that role. It will be all about Aaron Rodgers. And that's just because of who he is. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a big personality. It feels like the timelines don't add up. And the only way it might have made sense and you could have sold it, is if the Jets got hot down the stretch here. Okay, they won 5 of their last 7. There's signs of life. If we just look at the back half of the year, it's hard to see that happening. They feel like they don't even feel like a 7-10 team. They feel like a 4-13 team. And then how do you sell we went 4-13 when Rodgers played 15, 16, 17 games and we're going to do it again?
You can't, especially when he's looking as old as he is. But the one flip side of all of this, Joe, and it's like, okay, well, Aaron, yeah, it doesn't make sense for the Jets to bring him back. They're going to move on. There isn't necessarily a player here that they have invested significant capital in that they can turn around and say, like, okay, well, when Aaron leaves, this is the guy we're turning it over to. There's no Will Levis on this roster. The Jets' backup quarterback is 35-year-old Tyrod Taylor. So if it's not Aaron, who is it going to be? Now, in the situation you just listed where the Jets are going to win 4 games, 3 games, something like that, well, they're probably going to be picking top 5. They can be in the realm of potentially a Cam Ward, a Shedeur Sanders, something like that. One of these quarterbacks, Milroe, one of these guys who are going to be in there. Granted, not nearly as good of a position, a draft class as last year. I was talking to Connor Rogers about that today. But still, you could theoretically draft your quarterback, find a veteran, move forward with the typical process that a lot of quarterback or teams do. However, if they do find a way to steal a game or two down the road, say they do win 6 games as opposed to 3 or 4, maybe they do get to 7 wins somehow, some way down the stretch because they do play some easier opponents. Who's the quarterback going to be? They're not going to go sign Sam Darnold. This free agent class, Russ Wilson's probably going back to the Steelers. Sam Darnold's not running it back with the Jets. Are you going to go sign Carson Wentz? Are you going to try it with Justin Fields, who this team already deemed wasn't worth it when they drafted Zach Wilson? I mean, Jacoby Brissett. There really aren't any quarterbacks that are going to be free agents to sign to come be the guy. There's no one really on the trade market unless they maybe can try to force Trevor Lawrence to shake free. And there really isn't going to be a player that they're worthy of drafting in the first round if they're picking, say, 10, 11, 12, just because of the sheer number of bad teams that are out there right now. So I hate to say it, and I hate to use the phrase, but you do get the sense that the Jets might be entering quarterback purgatory again, where there really isn't a clear-cut answer on what to do.
All right, let's move to the defense. All right, we're moving to defense. We spent too much time talking about this offense, okay? I'm ready to move on. Aaron Rodgers, I'm done with.
Janae wants like the whiskey right now.
Exactly. I'm thinking vodka right now, okay? Not Aaron Rodgers.